the Treasury Bills market traded on a quiet note despite mixed sentiments witnessed at Tuesday's trade. And I have Eki Teddy-Onaghise, a member of the Treasury Sales Team at Access Bank. She joins us to give us a wrap of the midweek activities in the fixed income and FX market here in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time today, Eki. And let's first get to what's driving sentiments today.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me. So what we saw last week, following the inflow of FAC proceeds into the system, about 380 billion, the money market rates first dipped to 10%, and by close of business yesterday, the volume dipped to about 103, which brought up the open repo rates and overnight rates to about 14–15% levels. For the Treasury Bills market, it was, as you mentioned, it was a very quiet market opening the week. We haven't found any significant trades going on, but for yesterday, we had the NTB and almost space got a little bit busy, but we got a minimal trade that was recorded on the system. For the bond market as well, it also opened at a very calm note. We only found interest on the 2042s and 2025 papers. Earlier this morning, it was about the 2029 papers was also showing, was also interest on those papers. So what we've seen throughout yesterday, from Monday to up until yesterday, there was just minimal trades on the fixed income space, and no significant activities going to happen in the market this week. So we expect the very sentiments to continue within the week.
All right, but let's get a sense of what we can expect in terms of liquidity going into the rest of the month.
Into the rest of the month, I think we have almost maturity coming up next week. So for this week, there's nothing coming on in terms of liquidity. There's no maturity at all. But for next week, we see another maturity happen, and we're expecting also an NTB auction to follow through.
All right, but looking at what we've seen play out since that MPC announcement, we saw quite a number of investors exit the equity space, more or less looking to more safer avenues of investments there. But how would you say that has impacted the activity levels at the fixed income and FX market?
On the FX space, the investors on the stock market side, what we saw last week was also an exit from the space. I think what happened was most of these investors were investing in dollars, and that spiked up the rates in the alternative market. For the investors coming to the fixed income space, there's really no liquidity on that side, so we don't really see any much activity going to happen in the space as well.
Okay, well, let's look at your outlook for the Naira going to the rest of the month.
I beg your pardon?
What's your outlook for the Naira for the rest of the month?
Oh, for the Naira, seeing that the rates from the Naira has dropped as of yesterday to about 660 levels at the alternative market, we think this sentiment is going to be sustained because the panic buying from last week actually spiked up the rates to the 700 levels. So for this week, we just see the same sentiment. I think there's an ease now in the market, and the rates will go down below as soon as possible.
Right, but for looking at this week, though, how do you see the yield curve activity playing out then?
The activity is going to be on the Treasury Bills, on the fixed income space. The activity is going to be very bearish because of the liquidity issues. The market is still very quiet, being there is no liquidity and there's no significant impact in terms of liquidity. There's no more maturity. Fact payment came in last week already, so there's nothing we should see coming in this week. So the market is just going to remain bearish.
But what's that big thing you're looking forward to in the market that could change things?
I beg your pardon?
What's that big thing you're looking forward to in the market that could change things?
So if there's meant to be an more maturity next week, so when there's liquidity in the market, activities will go up, definitely. So if there is no activity, but now there's no activity this week, but for next week, when there's a more maturity, we expect the market to be a little bit busier and there will be liquidity.